The void's chilling whisper, "Nothing will remain," was not a threat, but a declaration. The child, a vessel for the primordial hunger, had fully embraced its emptiness. Stars, once burning with defiant light, flickered and died as tendrils of absolute nothingness snaked outward from its tiny form. The very fabric of reality began to fray, like ancient parchment touched by flame. Galaxies, once vibrant tapestries of creation, unraveled into cosmic dust. The architect, now a shadow of its former self, watched in horror as its grand design, its hunger for consumption, was dwarfed by this deeper, more absolute negation. It had sought to devour existence, but this was something far more terrifying: erasure. The Kalan entity, fully consumed, had offered no resistance to this ultimate void. The colossal eye, the ancient guardian, recoiled, its immense power seemingly insufficient against a force that sought not to conquer, but to unmake. It had absorbed the architect's hunger, but this was the hunger of non-existence itself. The child's eyes, once mirroring the primordial hunger's darkness, now blazed with a cold, indifferent light, the light of absolute absence. It was no longer a vessel, but the very embodiment of the unmaking. The cosmic storm, the architect's final desperate gambit, was nothing compared to the silent, inexorable crawl of oblivion. This was not a war of souls, but a war against being. Every atom, every memory, every possibility was being systematically dismantled. Across the shuddering cosmos, a desperate plea went out. A faint resonance, a whisper of defiance from the very edge of creation, began to stir. It was the forgotten echo of the lost lineage, the power that had first countered the architect's shard. This power, dormant for eons, sensed the ultimate threat. It was not a force of destruction, nor of preservation, but of balance. A fragile hope, born from the ashes of what was, began to coalesce. The primordial hunger, the child, pulsed with power, ready to extinguish the last vestiges of the universe. Its gaze, if it could be called a gaze, swept across the celestial panorama, seeking out the faintest spark of existence to extinguish. But then, a new light, a faint but persistent glow, appeared in the distance. It emanated from a place untouched by the architect's schemes, a place that predated even the primordial hunger's emergence. It was a place of pure potential, a nexus of creation that had remained hidden, waiting. The child paused, its unmaking momentarily arrested by this unfamiliar presence. The lineage's ancient power, amplified by the desperation of a dying universe, was reaching out. It was a call to arms, not of violence, but of reconstitution. The child, the embodiment of nothingness, was about to face its antithesis, the unformed potential of everything. The question remained: could this nascent force of creation truly counter the all-consuming void that now wore the face of innocence? The fate of all existence hung not in a grand battle, but in the silent, terrifying standoff between the ultimate end and the ultimate beginning. And as the child turned its gaze towards this new beacon, a single, chilling sound escaped its lips. Not a word, but a cessation of sound, a vacuum where a whisper should have been. The universe held its breath. The first true encounter was at hand.